Hey, Fox here. Today I want to do a video on kind of my thoughts of MLB The Show 18. I've played a couple weeks now of this game, so I want to kind of go through both the Diamond Dynasty and gameplay and my thoughts of like some things I think could change, some things that might be good to go forward with, and kind of overall what's going on in my mind and how I feel about this game. So obviously the biggest one that's gotten a lot of flack and update is the souvenirs and the exchanges. And we'll go through Diamond Dynasty stuff before the game play. So the exchange got a whole big makeover. Now, I feel as somebody that did a lot of these immortal grinds and the team epic grinds before the change, I got kind of, ripped off because I had to pay these exorbitant prices for these career arcs to complete them for these players down here for their sets. And even into the immortals, I put in a ton of stubs. But SDS made the change at the community's outrage of it. It's fine. Other people are going to be able to get these things cheaper than I did. I'm okay with that. Whatever, going forward, it's in the past. I understand it's better for the game overall. I worry about them making it too easy to get these cards now, but we'll see what their programs, what these missions are. Program souvenir coming up, and I got that. But so we'll see what that is going forward to really determine these immortals. And like once they do unlock these things, they said in April-ish with the team epics. I don't know how much better these cards are going to get through the year, like Babe Ruth, and I think this is something that's kind of been an issue with this game, does it have a lot of legs? I personally am fine with it dying off around August because that's when Madden starts up, or kind of more towards the end of October with the World Series. After that, it kind of dies. But it'll be tough to compete with this left fielder going forward. Maybe a little bit more speed, but can you beat 125s and everything? That's something that might... Does the game have legs? Might be a video on its own. I don't know. But the grind to come, who knows what they'll give us with that and the content coming forward. They lowered the overalls this year to give us more content, I think, to bring out more flashbacks and stuff. I wonder if they keep it like last year's similar content drip or the up it. They have talked about doing more of that to give more content to us through the year, kind of more the MUT style. Let me know what you guys think. I'm a big fan of the overalls going up and down in the live series and them having the quirks that actually matter in game. So events in game, awesome so far. This one ends probably by the time this video goes up. It's already ended the opening week event. I didn't get into this at all. Played a couple games just because they weren't counting for a long time, and I was already grinding other stuff. So event for this one for me is busted, but I know a lot of people liked it. We'll see what they have to come. So also number of legends is great. For the souvenirs though, I kind of want to get back to that. I feel like I didn't really fully get into the souvenirs. The immortals are great. I hope they bring in more because these names are kind of what we play the game for. But as to the souvenirs themselves, like this is something I completely predicted before the game started. I'd said in a video, SDS is making the same mistake EA made in Madden 16 and before, giving us souvenirs that are non-usable. Like these things on the market, we can't do anything with them except put in the sets. Like that's something the community hated. I understand their use is to provide value for packs, so that way when you pull a pack with a Dodger jersey home, you're like, oh my god, this basically paid for the whole pack. I pulled the gold Dodgers, now I can buy another one. So I appreciate what they're doing with the souvenirs to try and bring value to the packs for us all. I just think, see the counter to using these souvenirs, because they're basically the way to regulate sets. The counter is to use players in game and live series players. Then we see the live series players prices go up, and people like cheap cards, especially usable cards in this range, in this gold range. So I don't know what they do. They could just do that. They already have a player exchange to kind of bring out the value on a lot of these lower ones. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think of souvenirs, and if you like that they're bringing value to packs, or if you just rather get rid of them overall and have these higher prices on these kind of silver, these bronze cards, these lower end cards for exchanges, because they're pretty cheap as is, but they would not be that cheap if you had to put in a whole bunch of them for sets. All right, so that's kind of Diamond Dynasty. I like that this is a little bit different than MUT. I know a lot of people say MUT should have the live series players changes. I don't want that at all. I like MLB the way it is. I like this mode. I think it's a great grind. A lot of people really like the grinding for stats for cards. But let me know what you guys think of Diamond Dynasty itself in the comments. Let's get into gameplay and what I feel like they need to change up in gameplay here. So I'm just gonna kind of go through these things too. Let's just talk randomly about gameplay. So fastballs. I think two-seamers need more movement. They don't really do anything different from four-seamers. They're also a little slow, a lot of people say. Now, I think because fastballs, basically, if you throw them in the zone, they're going to get hit out of the park. Like, so Nolan Ryan's become kind of like I mean, he only throws a 95 on his old card, his 1989 card. So his curve and his circle change and sinker is kind of what you use. Like last year, I just spam his fastball, and you have like a top end pitcher. So it's two different camps this year fighting. Some people like that you need to kind of work the zone with off speed and junk stuff, and other people are like, bring back the four seam fastball, the extreme hard to hit up and in stuff from Nolan Ryan. And I appreciate both camps actually have points. Now, what SDS did was they upped the speed slightly on fastballs. I like that they didn't overcorrect right away. I like that they took an incremental approach. It's still a little bit slower than last year, but I think that's okay. Now, they may need to do a little tuning again. I think what needs to happen to fastballs, if they want to keep it casual, if they want to keep this game the way it is, they need to make it so fastballs just aren't automatic out of the parks if you square them out. Like they need to maybe I don't know what they do to it, but like basically fastballs, like you just can't even hit the zone with them. It's so weird. Like you could trail them off the zone, but really you could maybe sneak by a couple against a good hitter. But man, is it dangerous to throw them up? Anyway, so like with that said, so along with that we got a lot of PCI jumping errors. So I've seen some evidence. I've seen it myself on some footage too, and just playing the game a lot. You see like an online head-to-head. It doesn't really. I don't see it in single player as much, but online head-to-head, like you have your PCI in a spot and you swing, and then the feedback, the PCI is completely different, and then you also hit the ball based on where the feedback is. That's something that people complain about that I have also experienced, and I think needs to be looked at and fixed. There's a little bit of PCI jumping from where you lined it up as. I don't know why that is or how they do, but there's a lot of evidence out there, a lot of hopefully feedback to SDS for that. So next up, yeah, so after the PCI jumping, the fielding errors, once you hit that pop fly or line drive straight at a fielder, it does feel like I'm hitting a lot of pop flies this year, but that's kind of like I want to just hit dingers, so getting under the ball is kind of what I do. But a lot of people complain about line drive straight at fielders, and then once it gets to the fielders, the animations aren't triggering. I've won a couple games on this, and I've booted a couple balls in the outfield and let them go by me. I'm very frustrated with and you'll see in my which review was it that I have outfielder making a bad animation off the wall. So the animations need to be tightened up in the field. Definitely, I don't think it's an easy fix for Sony San Diego. I think that's going to be an issue going forward, though, with the fielding errors, and we're going to keep seeing them over and over and get super annoyed at this game. Like, at the beginning of the game, everybody, except for, like, when we get kicked off due to server problems, everybody's kind of in a happy mode about the game, and we're kind of loving it because it's something fresh, it's something new to grind for, that kind of stuff. But these fielding errors they do kill you, and when you see your opponent even get them, you're like, no, I can't stand it for my opponent. I feel terrible for them, unless you're a killer and you don't really care what happens to your opponent. So that's something that needs to be looked at. The pitchers I've noticed have gotten wilder, it feels, from last year. Like even if I nail the timing, and this might be just due to lower end pitchers that I'm using, but like the pitchers that I'm using right now, these diamonds aren't that much worse than the pitchers I used all through the last year. Like I used a couple guys in the low 90s last year, but otherwise I stuck with like high 80s. Well, I don't know. It's tough because the diamonds, the stats have gone down overall. By the way, the Sutton card, pretty good card. And if you want another tip, this Ozuna card is my favorite reliever in the game, so because of his slurve cutter stuff. So, anyways, and with that, so like when I nail the timing on the PCI, like it'll miss its spot. Like, shouldn't it be if you nail it perfectly, you can nail your zone perfectly? I don't like the randomness because of the control. Or is it the ball and base? Well, the ball and base kind of like if you miss, you'll miss. But I don't like the randomness of if you hit it perfectly, it'll still go somewhere else. It should be if you're that good enough to hit your spot, you should be able to hit it. So I don't know if this is just to reward players with better control on their pitchers or not, but it should be reduced to randomness. Basically, it's the bloom that people complain about in Fortnite. So it kind of like just randomly jumps even if you nail your spot. But that is it. One thing I will notice and give them credit for, the stats definitely matter in this game. Like, Mike Trout is in a league of his own. Like, he just smashes it constantly. 377, a lot of that online play. Anyways, so that's it. Maybe not the best hitter, but yeah, doing pretty well with him. So, thanks for watching. Call to action. I'll see you tomorrow.